I'm gonna start off with the first question of who am I with?
Your dad, Jeff Jones.
All right, and for the first question, what got you into drifting? What was the thing that clicked on that?
I just started watching videos way back when YouTube kind of just started. It was mostly like MySpace. You'd see videos of guys sliding cars around and it was just like, shoot, I could do that. Just gotta find something to do with it.
And what was the first car you say you were just goofing off and sliding?
Honestly, the very first car that I ever did any kind of sliding in was a 1991 Honda Civic sedan. A lot of handbrake turns with it, and I did a lot of dumb things in that car. And at one point, I kind of tried doing a little bit of rally in that car, and like the power sliding and the handbrake turns and stuff was a lot of fun. Like, you ended up doing a lot more of that than actually like trying to race. So I mean, after that, I just kind of started looking at more stuff like that and found a bunch of videos from Japan and just more or less got hooked from that.
Were there any shows or like any drift events you ever first gone to that made you feel like you wanted to do it more?
So after your uncle and I would go out to Rocky Mountain Raceway on Friday nights and watch the midnight drags. So like we'd get there like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and we'd be there till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning watching people drag race. And then one weekend we went, there was drifting going on in the oval, and we're sitting watching drag racing and everybody going by, and you hear screeching coming from the other side. So of course we got to go check it out and see what the hell's going on. And from there, that was more or less what really got me hooked. And then we started going like every weekend and just watching drifting. And at the time I was working at a tire shop, and a guy, Brandon Whitnick, actually came in his like 1985, 80, 86 with like little 14-inch wheels and needed tires put on. So I mounted up, 8 tires for him. And, of course, I was into Japanese cars at the time, so I got a little chatty with him and found out that he was actually going out that night to go drifting, like do some street drifting. And I asked him where, and ended up going up by somewhere in the mountains. I couldn't be honest where. And watched him and probably 10 other guys just drifting through the canyon. And that is kind of where I got hooked. Then a few months later, we went for my birthday. We've been watching drifting, and he happened to be there. And I was like, yo, let me get a ride with you, it's my birthday. And he threw me a helmet and told me to get in the car. And for like 3 laps, it was the most amazing thing I've ever been a part of. Like, it changed everything about what I thought about cars. It was pretty interesting.
Was your first time in the drift car in his ADA6?
No, actually it was in his S13, and I'm pretty sure that's why I ended up with my very first 240.
Did you like driving the 240? Did you know about it before you ever owned one?
I knew about them mostly because of video games, and like around town, you didn't see them all like tuned up or anything like that. They more or less were a grandma's car at the time. Like, you'd see old ladies driving them, and like there wasn't anything special about them. Then, after going to the drift events and seeing them, I started to notice more of them. And yeah, I found out how cheap they were, because you could buy them for like $500. And I had to find one. And your mom actually found my very first one and bought it for me, gave it to me as a gift for Father's Day. And it was an automatic, just bone stock, single cam, truck engine. And a friend of ours had a 240 that was literally just crashed like 2 weeks before I got mine. And so I bought his car from the insurance and used everything off of that car because it had a manual transmission, it had the twin cam 2.4 liter and everything else I needed. So I just bought that and pulled everything off of it and put it on my car.
And do you remember when your first drift event was? Or when you started drifting?
Oh, the first time, I don't remember the day, but I have never been so nervous to do something in my entire life. And your Uncle Fuzzy went with me and rode with me the entire time. I think I did. I went out thinking I was going to do amazing. Like, there was no way I couldn't do this. And to be honest, it was significantly more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I couldn't get the car to rotate. I couldn't get it to slide. I spun out every single time. And I ended up just getting very frustrated to the point where, I want to say the fourth lap, I was trying so hard. I actually spun out and slammed into the wall at the oval. And your uncle got pretty upset with me. And I don't remember if he hit me in the head or if it was just like his words hit me in the head. But he told me I needed to mellow out. And then he yelled at me and was like, "You just need to calm down. I know you can drive. You can do this. You've done stuff like this. It's just, you need to relax." And so I went and got a drink, grabbed something to eat, looked at the car, was pretty bummed about the car. It wasn't a big crash, but it was enough to put a big dent in the quarter panel. And after that, I just went out and I just did a couple of laps and got the car to break loose. And I think it was, by the end of the night, I was actually getting a few drifts. I wasn't linking the track yet, but I was getting a few drifts. And where we were drifting was pretty difficult to drift with the 120 horsepower that car made. And it had banked ovals, so it was banked. And trying to get the car to slide around the big bank with the angle that it had was pretty difficult. I mean, there was guys doing it, but they had, like the SR20, so they were, roughly 300 horsepower. So my 120 horsepower car wasn't doing it.
And what was the biggest drift event you went to that you felt like this is something you want to do for a longer time?
I wouldn't say an event made me decide I wanted to do it for a long time. It just became something that allowed me to let go of everything. When I was in that car, put my helmet on, like nothing mattered. I was there for a good time, not a long time. Are you recording in 4K?
So when you first, you said you started drifting at the oval at Rocky Mountain Raceway, but have you gone to any other drift events that were more paceful for your car?
I mean, Rocky Mountain ended up being one of my favorite places to drive because it was so difficult. And I mean, after, I want to say 2 years of driving that track, I was getting really good. I could do probably 70% of the bank before the car would run out of power. power and it would come off the hill or off the bank. But then Miller Motorsports Park opened up, and we ended up going out to the paddock. So it was just flat, and that was significantly easier. So I want to say I got a little cocky, and every competition I entered like 3 or 4 competitions, and of all 4, the best I did was 4th, and that was all of them. All of them I ended up getting like 4th place. And your grandpa might actually have a video of me initiating into some really big plastic rails, and I just took out like 5 or 6 of them in my initiation, and just the way I came out, and then tried to do like kind of like a Scandinavian flick, but more just like a weight transfer clutch kick, and I just sent the whole car, and it was like, just took the whole driver's side of the car off. It was pretty awesome, and I mean, that was kind of what ended up screwing me for that event, but I still ended up driving the whole day, had a great time, always do. The biggest event I went to was Formula Drift in Las Vegas in 2010, the very first time I drove all the way down to Vegas, all by myself, and spent the whole week hanging out with all the pro Formula drifters, and that was kind of a turning point. Like, from there, it was just no other motorsport really mattered to me, because the drivers of Formula Drift were just so nice and welcoming that they would talk to you for half hour and give you suggestions on what you could try, and would always say they would hope to see you out here.
And what is your best or most favorite memory you've had at the Formula Drift?
I want to say the first time you went with me was pretty awesome, but like all of them were kind of the same. I just had a really good time. Like, I can't say one is better than the other. I love hanging out with the people I love and doing the things I love to do and watching the things I love to watch.
And I'm going to go back to the 240 topic. Do you still own your 240 today?
I don't. I ended up buying this garbage.
And why don't you own the 240 anymore?
Sorry, what?
Why don't you own the 240 anymore?
Well, you were about 4 years old, and I wanted to do something with you, but I mean, obviously at 4, I couldn't get you to drive, and driving was a little expensive for me at the time. And so what I ended up doing was selling that car, and we got you into BMX racing.
Do you ever wish you never sold the car and just kept it?
Yes and no. Like, I wish I still had the car, but the memories I have from you BMX racing, I would have to say, are more valuable than the car.
And do you remember when you sold it, like the year?
I want to say, maybe I went to Vegas before that. I want to say it had to be before that, because you were just little. So I probably went to Las Vegas Formula Drift in like 2009, and then ended up selling the car in 2011 or 2012.
And how long away were you from drifting? Like, what's the longest break before you started doing it again?
I think like me driving personally, I want to say it was probably 6 years, but it could have been less, because a friend of ours had a Honda Genesis. We kind of call him your uncle, and he let me borrow his car, and that was in 2020, so it was a long time. 10 years before I actually drove again. But I was going out to the drift events and hanging out and helping, and I was helping Brandon tear a car down and rebuild it. I mean, I didn't do a whole lot of work for him, but I went up and hung out just before he went pro. And so like I've kind of always been around doing drift car stuff.
And so since you were gone from drifting because you didn't have the 240 anymore, you went to the events, but when did you buy your new car?
I think we bought this in 2020, 2021. I want to say 2020, I think is when we bought it. And then I drove it for about a year. And then after about a year, I had enough money to throw a bunch of suspension stuff at it and make it driftable.
And what is the make and model of this new car?
It's a BMW 325i, the E46, a lot of people call it.
And you said you put suspension stuff on it? Like, what were those?
So it's got the full FDF Race Shop Mantis angle kit on the front, and Feel 421s, I think they are. So the coilovers, front and rear, and then everything else I've just kind of done myself. I welded the differential and I guess it's got a racing seat and stuff in it now.
And from drifting your new car, what's better, the 240 or would you say the BMW?
Honestly, the BMW is significantly better. Probably because of the money I spent on the suspension, but the 240 was essentially just a stock 240 with motor mounts that I made myself, a welded differential, and I cut the coil springs on it so it wasn't so tall. I found some old adjustable shocks in the junkyard on another 240. So like that car wasn't nearly as built as this one.
And I'm gonna ask you the big question here. What was the main goal when you started drifting? Was there anything you had set, like becoming more professional or just doing it for fun?
I just wanted to do it for fun. Like the idea of competing was there. I just never had the money to actually do it. Like it's quite expensive to get into competition, and as much support as I had, it just wasn't the money that was the support part. So having a good chunk of change to drift is ideal.
And how long were you at the drift events for with your older car?
I want to say I drifted almost every weekend for like 4 years, and then kind of mellowed out on the 5th or 6th year. And then once you were born, I think I was doing it 2 events a year. So, I mean, I did a lot, but I didn't do a lot.
And down with the new car, is there anything you want to go further with the new car?
More power would be ideal. The car drives pretty well at the moment, but a little more horsepower doesn't hurt.
And what would give you that horsepower? Would like any engine things or maybe an engine swap? What would do the most?
With my budget and the fact that I have a few extra parts, I'd probably put a turbo on it, but even that, it's almost the same as going out and getting a V8 out of an old pickup truck and putting it in there. And the transmission is generally the most expensive part. I don't know, I have a lot of ideas on what I want to do. I'd love to throw a V6 from a 350Z in it, only because having a Nissan engine in a BMW would be pretty awesome. But at the same time, like, if I had the money, I would definitely go for like a 5.0 Ford Coyote engine. a supercharger because it'd be like 900 horsepower.
And with the new car, would you say you want to compete in any competitions, or just keep going out for fun and just doing what you do?
I myself, I just want to go out and have fun. Like, we have friends that drive, you drive once in a while, so I would prefer just to go out and have fun myself. I mean, if we could get you any competition, that'd be ideal.
And do you think if you never sold the 240, you'd possibly be up in decent competitions, maybe like Drift Masters or Clutch Masters, whatever?
Probably not, because once I became a dad, a lot of things changed. I had to buy a house. I had to more or less start adulting. So my focus kind of changed from, like, this is something I want to do every single weekend, to I don't know if I'll be able to do this very much.
And for real final question, would you say you're happy that you have gotten me or passed down the torch into me drifting to keep it going in the family?
Well, if you weren't going to drive, I most definitely would be driving. I would find a way, now that I have slightly better means of affording something like this. But I would most definitely do it. I mean, the only other thing I would compare it to is rock crawling, and I also like that. But that was cheaper and easier to do than drifting. But I went to a drift event after not going for a long time, and just smelling the tire smoke and hearing the cars, it gives you an itch. Like, you leave and all you can think about is the way that the cars look, and what do I have to do to be out there instead of watching? Because watching is cool, but doing it is, it's a whole different world. I love drifting. It just makes it feel really good when you get something down and you get that car sideways, and then it snaps the opposite direction, but you don't spin out. And it's just fun. And there's nothing else to say about it. There's no way to not have fun when you're drifting.
All right, thank you for your time.